Welcome to this new episode of The Disabled Life. The purpose of this podcast is to tell people how I live my life. The name I'm using on the podcast now is The Disabled Guy, because I felt that you needed to hear something as opposed to just my voice there. I'm a disabled male living in Florida with cerebral palsy. I'm here to tell you how I live my life and some of the volunteer work that I do and how I managed to do it with cerebral palsy. Without further ado, let's go into the episode. Okay, I want to talk to you about something today, but before I do that, I'm going to explain something. I was supposed to travel on Monday evening with STS, but I did not do so. So, I'm going to delay the STS episode till my Saturday episode because I'm definitely traveling on Thursday with STS. But I am going to tell you I had some problems with reservations, and I will reiterate those in the future. I will reiterate those on the Thursday episode once I have that. Have a complaint. Also have a complaint filed, so that one have a complaint file. So I will also talk about that. Not at that point, as soon as they contact me back. Now, to go to what I was going to talk about today. Today, I'm going to talk about something that's really important to me and to a lot of disabled people. Okay. Some people don't know how to see how to detect when somebody's stressed or frazzled. So it's important that you read people's cues. What I mean by cues, I'll use this as an example. One day I had a problem with my keyboard on my computer, an Apple computer. What problem was, I had an arrow key had broken. I did not realize at that point that let me go back. Okay, I had a problem. So the one that takes me to the Apple store, bless her heart, she doesn't. I know she hates it, but I do it. I hate it too. I don't like going there because of the amount of people. So I'll go there with an appointment. So I told my mom, hey, I didn't realize that something was going on. I don't know. I think it was something with the dog or something. The dog had gone to the bathroom or something. I don't know. I don't remember now what happened. So what happened is, she tells me, I don't want to hear about Apple. And I'm like, and I realized what was going on. But now, so what brings me to this, so that's what brought me to this. There are some times where it's not right. It's not right. It's not appropriate to say certain things. So, the other day, there was something going on, and some people have a tendency to talk at you when something is going wrong with them, or they're stressed or whatever. They have a tendency to talk at you, not to you. What I mean by talk at you is when you're not causing something, when you're not doing something, and all of a sudden they just boom, talk loud at you, and you're like, huh? I didn't do that. Nothing wrong. So additionally, that happened to me the other day. So I went ahead and told my mom, I said, Mom, I know when you're stressed from the way you talk to me. I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that's a way of acknowledging that and telling them that, so they understand. When I was a child, I did not know. I thought they would always, when that would happen, I thought they were screaming at me. I'm like, what did I do wrong? But as an adult and as a teenager, you realize, hey, no, it is not them. It is not me. It is something going on with them, which I don't think is wrong. But the way to express it, maybe I'm wrong. But what can we do? It's not something that we mean to do. Sometimes we don't know. So what I'm gonna say, going back to the story with the apple thing, is wait until the time is right to do that. To talk to that person about it and say, hey, this is what I'm doing. I got deployment on this day because my keyboard is broken, etc. Sometimes you have to wait for the right time. But also, let me say, we're not perfect. People make mistakes. I make mistakes. But the good thing about making mistakes is you learn. If you learn from them and don't do them again. Where I see a problem is when you don't resolve that, when you figure out what was going on. Let me give you an example of something else. Okay, when I was a kid, I would try to help and tell people that they were doing something wrong, and some people don't like that. Some people don't like that because they assume that they're correct. So I would, get in trouble with that because they would get upset because they didn't want my advice. So what I slowly learned was, well, no, let me go back. What I was saying to you is that what I learned, I would say, wait a minute, it's not me. Why am I getting punished for this glass being broken? Yeah, this is a true example. They would yell at me and stuff. And I'm like, why would this happen? This is a parent of mine. So why would this happen? And I would be like, oh, no. And then later on, I started to realize it's not me. It's the way. It's them. So what I would do is I would let them not help them as much. When they have something in their mind, that's it. Certain people you have to just say, okay, take the high road and let it go. That's what you have to do, because I don't feel that you can do things like that. That's not right. It isn't correct. It's not correct at all. It's not right of them, but maybe that's the way they were raised. Maybe that's the way they think that they should parent, whatever the case may be. But think about it. You are not right sometimes. You are not right, and then, not right, so it's, you're not right, so they're not right. But what can you do? Sometimes you just have to let it flow and let it happen and not worry about it as much. Let it go, because you can't fix everybody. You can't. Sometimes you have to let things go and let things happen the way they need to happen. It's something that, understand please that I have an air conditioner in my background. I've done all I can to mitigate the noise, but the noise is still there. So I apologize for you, but I just turned my mic gain down to reduce that noise. So it's something that we have to learn as disabled people, how to deal with people that help us. Sometimes that's hard. It's hard. It is hard. But it is what it is. We have to live with it. We have to do what we do. And sometimes it takes a long time to figure it out. Yeah, honestly, yeah. Sometimes it takes a long time to figure things out, and you try to help people, and then they don't want to get upset. So when that tends to happen, what I mean is watch your pattern. When you do that and they frustrate, what do? It happens once, okay, maybe it's you. It happens twice, okay, maybe it's there. But it happens 3 times or more, you realize, it's not me. So that's what you do, and when you adjust to fix the problem. One thing that I would do, I don't know if I said it, hold on. if I've said this in the past, but I don't know if I said this in the past. If I did, I'm sorry. I'll give you, yeah, I think I did. I would tell people, I would tell my mom, I know that. I already know that. And that would annoy them. And, it's like, and they would tell me, you have an attitude, whatever. And I said, okay, no, it's not that. I never told him that. But I said, no, it's not that. What happened was, I realized that was bothering them. So I said, okay, I'm not going to do that anymore. Once I stopped, once I corrected and fixed the problem, that little thing, it brought down a lot of that thing where I had an attitude where it's not, sometimes it's not you. Sometimes it's not you. Sometimes it's the way things are perceived. Sometimes that's the case. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's not you. Sometimes you don't intend to do something, but sometimes it happens and you perceive it and you go on. And then that's another one that's hard to fix, because you're like, you're like, that's wrong, because you're like, and you don't understand the fraud, but you have to figure it out. You have to figure it out, and it's just trial and error. I don't know it all, but I don't know everything in the world, but I'm trying to give you advice on how to help and do things like that. And this is why I wanted to do it, because it's part of my life and part of growing as a person. You can start growing as early as a person. You can start growing as early as 12 years old, because as a kid, you don't know. As a kid, it's hard because you are, my opinion may not be true, but I'm just going to give you my opinion on things. I feel like parents have more control of you as a small kid. As a child, it gets better, and as a teenager is when you can really start growing, because you start to figure out your own life, and how to figure out what is wrong, how they want to react, how they react to things, because it's not, parents are not as, parents and authority figures are not as intimidating as they were when you were a child. What I mean by intimidating is when they tell you something as a kid, you just would go do it no matter what. But as a teenager, you might still go to do it, but what do you do now? You listen and you analyze it. You might still do it, so that you don't get into problems. But hey, yeah, but you analyze it. That's not correct. And then you can later, if you want, as a teenager, if they're open to it, sometimes they're not. You can say, hey, I don't know. Well, I did what you wanted me to do because I didn't want to get in trouble or conflict. But I felt that that's wrong. I feel that that was incorrect. With that, thank you for listening. I know this was a little longer than I normally do. In closing, let me say thank you for listening to this episode of The Disabled Life. You can follow me on the following platforms. You can follow me at Good Pods. You can leave comments, messages there. You can also follow me on Twitter at The Disabled Guy. And you can also listen to me on Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Spotify, and many others. Once again, thank you for listening, and I'll also give you my email. My email is Kilo Echo 4 Kilo Echo Yankee, or KE4KEY@gmail.com. Once again, thank you, and thank you for your support, and I'll see you next week. Additionally, I'm going to give 2 shout outs to 2 groups on Facebook, because they've helped me a lot. One group is called Podcast Beginners, I'm still a little bit active on that one, but that was more for the beginners. I recently joined another group called Podcast Support Community. I really feel that they are supportive, but there are rules to follow, but that's fine. Thank you to both of those people, that the groups of admins and administrators, the groups of admins and moderators that run that group, those two groups. Thank you.